Hello and welcome to TVB News. I'm Melissa Hekalea. Eric Chung, Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs, has resigned due to health issues. The State Council made the announcement that upon the recommendation of Chief Executive John Lee, Chung has been removed from his post. Celine Chan has more.
Speaking jointly to the media before the Executive Council meeting, Chief Executive John Lee said Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Eric Chung has expressed his wish to resign over health reasons.
The application by Eric Chung to resign from his job because of personal health reason is fully appreciated. Principal officials' jobs are very demanding. Not just the workload is heavy, but the pressure is also heavy. So I can understand why Eric, under the present health condition, would like to take a rest so as to take care of his health problems.
The CE said he is thankful for Zhang's contributions over the years and wish him the very best of health and luck. Eric Zhang expressed his gratitude for the trust and support of the central government and the chief executive, and that he would continue to contribute in different roles in the future. Zhang said his health deteriorated due to the intense work, with his prostate-specific antigen index value consistently exceeded 11, which suggests he has a higher risk of prostate cancer. He decided to submit his resignation after completing the tasks related to the Legislative Council election last month. The chief executive said he will look for an appropriate replacement, and in the meantime, the Bureau's Under-Secretary Clement Wu will work as the acting secretary. Lee also clarified there are currently no plans of further changes within his cabinet.
There will be no further change of principal officials, particularly now we have so many things to do, and they are all doing as I require them to do, sharing my governance philosophy. Had Eric's health condition, manageable, I really would like him to continue.
The 62-year-old Zhang joined the Immigration Department as an assistant immigration officer in 1987 after graduating from the Chinese University School of Journalism and Communication. He became the assistant immigration director in 2014 and further rising to become director of immigration 2 years later. He was appointed the Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs in 2020 under the then Chief Executive Carrie Lam. Celine Chan, TVB News.
Prostate cancer is the fourth leading killer among men in Hong Kong. In 2023, there were 3,031 cases and 522 deaths. According to a urologist, a prostate-specific antigen index value over 4 is already considered abnormally high. People with a PSA value over 10 should be vigilant. However, a high PSA value doesn't mean the person has prostate cancer. Since early-stage prostate cancer has no symptoms, men aged 50 or above are advised to undergo relevant screenings each year. The illness is primarily associated with genetic factors and increasing age and has no direct correlations with unhealthy lifestyle habits like smoking or alcohol consumption. New laws mandating seatbelts took effect last Sunday. While the measure received some complaints, Chief Executive John Lee is standing firm, citing public safety as the absolute priority. He noted that the initial stage of implementation will focus on public education and fostering habits through persuasion. Samantha Lee reports.
Addressing concerns that many passengers are accustomed to buckling up, Chief Executive John Lee acknowledged that new rules often bring initial inconvenience, but stressed the legislation is a necessary response to the 2018 Taipo Road bus crash, which claimed 19 lives.
I understand the measure will require a change of behavior and passengers may feel inconvenience at the beginning. However, this small change in behavior can potentially reduce serious injuries by 70% or deaths by 70%.
Lee was also asked about the long-term rehousing plan for Wanfo Court residents who are displaced by the tragic fire 2 months ago. He said around 90% of owners have responded to the government's questionnaire about their wishes, while a dedicated task force was currently analyzing the data to finalize the next steps for the various resettlement options. As for the accountability issue for the tragedy, he stressed the criminal investigations by law enforcement agencies are underway to find the truth and clarify responsibilities as soon as possible.
I have said repeatedly that all those who should be held accountable will be held to account, whether they are within the government or outside the government, whether they are at junior level or senior level, and that we will pursue accountability to the very end.
Regarding the government's counterfeit bottled water procurement scandal, Lee said it was appropriate to withdraw the Silver Bohemia Star initially awarded to the former director of Logistics Carson Chan. While Chan's subordinates failed to report the issue to him, Lee said Chan bears the ultimate responsibility as the head of the department. In relation to comments by Xia Baolong, director of the Hong Kong and Macau's Affairs Office, made at the Chinese Association of Hong Kong and Macau Studies seminar in Beijing yesterday, Lee said they provided insightful explanations and guiding principles regarding executive-led governance. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
A spokesperson for the Iranian Foreign Ministry said the arrival of U.S. warship USS Abraham Lincoln will not shake Iran's will. This as U.S. President Donald Trump threatened military action over the country's crackdown on nationwide protests. Meanwhile, Lebanon's Hezbollah organized a massive solidarity rally in the southern suburbs of Beirut to voice its support for the Islamic Republic of Iran and its supreme leader, Ali Khamenei. Daniel Rao tells us more.
Speaking during a weekly briefing in Tehran, Iranian Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Baghei addressed the ongoing tensions between the US and Iran. This amid unrest in Iran following a bloody crackdown on protests that began on December 28th, triggered by the collapse of Iran's currency, the rial, that swept the country for about 2 weeks. Baghei said the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will carefully keep an eye on every movement and every development, and at the same time they do not let a single second go by without working to build up their capabilities in order to safeguard Iran's national sovereignty. Baghei expressed his gratitude to countries that voted against the United Nations Human Rights Council resolution condemning the crackdown on the protests in Iran. He said he thanked those parties that chose to abstain and in doing so showed their lack of alignment with the politicized approach of Western countries. 25 nations of the 47-member Country Rights Council in Geneva, including France, Japan and South Korea, voted in favor of the censure resolution. 7 countries voted against, including China, India and Pakistan, with 14 abstaining. Meanwhile, Lebanon's Hezbollah organized a massive solidarity rally in the southern suburbs of Beirut to voice its support for the Islamic Republic of Iran and its supreme leader Ali Khamenei amid the potential US attacks on the country. Delivering a televised speech at the rally, Hezbollah leader Sheikh Naim Qassem warned any military attack on Iran would not leave his group on the sidelines, saying such a move could trigger wider regional escalation. Qassem said if Israel and the United States launch an aggression against Iran, Hezbollah will choose how to act at the appropriate time, but will not be neutral. General TV News.
Welcome back. U.S. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino is expected to leave Minneapolis as the Trump administration reshuffles leadership of its immigration enforcement operation and scales back the federal presence after a second fatal shooting by federal officers. This after a federal judge had questioned the government's motivation behind the crackdown. Tracy Furness has more.
White House said the shooting and killing by federal immigration officers of Minneapolis protesters occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democratic leaders in Minnesota.
Nobody in the White House, including President Trump, wants to see people getting hurt or killed in America's streets. This includes Renee Good, Alex Preddy, the brave men and women of federal law enforcement, and the many Americans who have been victimized at the hands of illegal alien criminals. Saturday's shooting remains under active investigation by Homeland Security Investigations and the FBI. The Customs and Border Protection is also conducting their own internal review. As President Trump said yesterday, the administration is reviewing everything with respect to the shooting, and we will let that investigation play out. But let's be clear about the circumstances which led to that moment on Saturday. This tragedy occurred as a result of a deliberate and hostile resistance by Democrat leaders in Minnesota.
This as a federal judge heard arguments Monday over Minnesota's challenge to the Trump administration's immigration enforcement crackdown. U.S. District Judge Catherine Menendez is considering whether to grant requests by the state and the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul to temporarily halt the immigration operation.
The state essentially wants to return the situation to where it was before the federal government surged in ICE and Border Patrol officers at the beginning of December.
Meanwhile, in Maple Grove, Minnesota, demonstrators were outside the hotel where they believed U.S. Border Patrol head Greg Bavina was staying. Police told the protesters that the demonstration was an unlawful assembly and ordered them to disperse. President Trump said he was placing his border czar, Tom Homan, in charge of the mission after Bavino drew condemnation for claiming the man who was killed, Alex Pretty, had been planning to massacre law enforcement officers, a characterization that authorities had not substantiated. Tracy Furness, TVB News.
6 people died when a business jet crashed during takeoff as a snowstorm moved in and visibility diminished in the U.S. state of Maine. The Bombardier Challenger 600 flipped over and burned on takeoff at Bangor International Airport. This as an extreme winter storm continued to batter much of the U.S. The most lingering effects are concentrated in a band from far eastern Texas across North Louisiana, Mississippi, and into Nashville, Tennessee. Officials in Mississippi are warning damage cleanup and power restoration could take a week or more.
Ice storms are different than virtually any other type of storm that we deal with. And it's particularly different when you see the ice come in and then 48 hours or so after the precipitation leaves, the temperature has still not gotten above freezing, and therefore it creates challenges in terms of getting assets deployed.
More than 800,000 power outages caused by the winter storm were reported across the U.S. as of Tuesday. Over 150,000 of them are in Nashville, Tennessee. About 140,000 remain without power in hard-hit Mississippi and 115,000 more in Louisiana. President Xi Jinping met with Finnish Prime Minister Petteri Orpo in Beijing. She expressed readiness to work with Finland to firmly uphold the international system with the United Nations at its core to jointly respond to global challenges. She also spoke about China's willingness to work with Finland to promote an equitable and orderly multipolar world. The Finnish government had said earlier that promoting business opportunities and holding talks on international issues like the Ukraine war would be on the agenda of Orpo's 4-day visit. The last 2 remaining giant pandas in Japan arrived back in China, marking the first time that there will be no pandas in Japan in around half a century. The twin pandas Xiao Xiao and Lei Lei were transported by truck from the Ueno Zoological Gardens to Narita Airport to board the flight back home. Xiao Xiao and Lei Lei were born in 2021, and their parents returned to China in 2024. Their elder sister Xiang Xiang returned to China in 2023. In the days leading up to their departure, Ueno Zoo saw an influx of visitors to bid farewell to the giant pandas, and the zoo offered about 4,400 slots each day for visitors wishing to say goodbye. As the Nipah virus continues to spread in parts of India, some mainland scientists have found a drug that could be an inhibitor. With a fatality rate of 75%, there is currently no specific vaccine or medicine against the Nipah virus. Researchers at the Wuhan Institute of Virology under the Chinese Academy of Sciences have announced that the oral nucleoside drug VV116 effectively inhibits the spread of the virus. Experts believe it could serve as a preventive medicine for medical practitioners and laboratory staff. At the moment, the mainland has yet to report any confirmed cases. With the Chinese New Year approaching, members of the public are advised to avoid non-essential travel to high-risk areas. The police have launched an investigation into a suspected case of animal cruelty after more than 100 fish were found dead at a fish pond at a public housing estate in Chengquan-o. No one has been arrested so far. The incident happened at King Lam Estate, where a fish pond was home to around 200 fish. The pond was drained for cleaning this morning. Several dead fish were seen at the bottom, while some turtles were around and still alive. Sources say workers from a cleaning company relocated the fish to a plastic container during a recent cleaning operation. It's suspected that an air pump malfunctioned, leading to a lack of oxygen that caused the death of over 100 fish. The Hong Kong Tourism Board announced the details of the night parade on the first day of the Lunar New Year on February 17th. A total of 12 floats will participate, including the popular IP character Labubu. Celine Chan reports.
The Lunar New Year will get off to a cheery start in Hong Kong with the annual float parade. A total of 12 floats, 3 more than last year's parade, will take the stage at Tsim Sha Tsui starting at 8 o'clock on February 17th. Labubu will be making its night parade debut on the day, along with McDonald's mascot celebrating the fast food giant's 50th anniversary in the city. And of course, the Year of the Horse wouldn't be complete without the Hong Kong Jockey Club's float. Under the theme Best Fortune World Party, the event is expected to attract around 100,000 people, with half of them being tourists.
Chairman
of the Hong Kong Tourism Board Peter Lam said, with a history of 30 years, the event has become a world-class celebration attracting many tourists each year. A total of close to 60 floats and performing teams will be featured, incorporating different new elements. That includes Cathay Pacific, which will be celebrating its 80th anniversary with its float. The parade will start from the Hong Kong Cultural Centre, passing through Hai Phong Road and Nathan Road. The final destination will be the Sheraton Hotel and Towers. Spectators can watch the parade for free along the parade route of Canton Road, Hai Phong Road and Nathan Road. Spectator stands will be set up at the piazza at the Hong Kong Cultural Centre, with tickets priced from $450 to $600. The floats would also be displayed at the Kai Tak Sports Park starting on February 18th until March 3rd. Performance highlights include the Fumi Youth Yinga dance troupe of Puning City, which appeared at the CCTV Spring Festival Gala. The troupe will perform the National Intangible Cultural Heritage Chinese War Dance with the 6-year-old Yinga girl prodigy Zhuang Enqi. A giant luminous horse performance will also be featured that day. Celine Chan, TVB News.
And that is the news. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.